Okay, so in this module we're going to add a page to our website. Pages are simply the different pages you see along a menu, and even the sub-pages are still referred to as just pages. And what we're going to start with is creating an about page. So here's mine. Got an image, a heading. This is called a heading because it's larger than the paragraph text. And these are just called paragraphs. And these are the three things we're going to do to create our first page. So if we go back to the website, and you'll see on the dashboard on the left-hand side, you've got a tab called Pages. If you go to All Pages, you can see pages that have been created previously. I've just done these for the benefit of the course, but we're going to add a brand new page. And you can either click on Add New on the left, or up here we've got Add New again. So let's click on this one. Both do exactly the same. And this is the setup that you'll see whenever you go to create a new page or go to edit an existing page. Existing pages will have text in, but as a new page, this is what you'll see as a blank canvas for you. So here you've got a title block. These are called blocks. And then this bit here is your paragraph block where you will put your paragraph text. So first we need the page title, and as it's an about page, we could call it About, or you could call it About Me. Anything you like, you can put whatever you like in there. So we're going to do About Me, and then we're going to put some text. So to make it a little bit easier, I'm just going to copy and paste that. I'm going to paste that in there. And you can see that for every paragraph, it's done a new block. Now I can add some more text wherever I like. I can either click within an existing block and start typing, or I can put a brand new block in. So if I wanted the block to appear between these two, I would put my cursor in the top block, click on Add Block, and we want to put a paragraph in there perhaps this time, so let's put a paragraph in. And a brand new block always inserts below where your cursor is. So it always inserts below. Okay. When you've added text and you want to make any changes to it, just like Microsoft Word, you highlight it and you can make it bold, you can italicize it, you can centralize it, and then over to the right hand side you can even make things completely different. So we can make it huge. We could set the size to 100. Slightly big. Let's take it back to huge. And a new feature that I like, text settings, is to drop cap. I do like that. That's a new feature. You can even change the colour. That's the background colour. So if we have the background red, we can change the text to white. So this obviously doesn't look fantastic, it's just to give you an idea. And then what you can also do is you can move your blocks up and down. So maybe I want this right at the top so it stands out. So with my cursor in there, I can then move it up or move it down. So let's move it up. And that's now at the top. So I've moved that up there, and then this is the page, but it's not a good representation of how the page looks to somebody that's visiting your site. So we can see what it's going to look like to the outside world. Before we do anything, let's just click on Save Draft. Like with anything, there's nothing worse than creating something, forgetting to save it, and your internet crashes or your laptop runs out of battery, and you have to start all over again, because it's almost always your best work that doesn't save, isn't it? So once we've saved, and do that as regularly as you like, if we go to Preview, it generates a preview of how the page looks to the outside world. So we've got this daft box up here, which I just put for fun, and we've got our text. I think we'd benefit from adding an image just to make it appealing to people. So let's add an image. So I want the image below this paragraph. So I've got my cursor in that block. I go to Add Block and I want to insert an image. And a blank block pops up to enable me to insert an image. And I can either upload from scratch or I can go to the media library. Now the media library is within your WordPress website and it is a library of all the images that you've ever uploaded to your website. But best of all, it's not only images within there, it's also files, because you can also upload PDF documents, Word documents, Excel documents, you can upload videos as well. You can upload all sorts of things to your WordPress website and link to them. But for the benefit of this course, I'm going to upload images, and those images the file names will end .jpg or .png. So let's go to upload, and once you click on upload, it takes you to all of the available drives on your laptop or computer, whatever you're working on. I've uploaded these already to my desktop to make it easier to select them. Let's insert the image of me, press open, and it's put in a rather large image of me. Now what we can do with the image selected, you can see there's some blue dots, and those blue dots allow us to move the image to make it smaller in any direction. So I'll make it a little bit smaller there. Now that's one way of doing it, or with the image selected, you can change the size of it over here. So let's make it thumbnail. And that's changed it to 150 by 150, slightly cut my head off. And then up here, we can either align it center, or we can align it right or left. Now, if you can see here, there's a solid dark rectangle. That represents the image. And the lines to the left here represent the text. So if I make the image right aligned, it puts it in between the text, as opposed to it just sitting on its own and floating. So we've done that there. Now let's have a look how that looks. So let's save draft again. And go to preview. And you can see that it's put the image in between the text, which looks quite nice. And what I want to do is I want to get rid of this because it just looks daft. But what I'd like to do is put a heading in. If you recall, I showed you the heading here. It's bigger than the paragraph text. So we're going to put one of those in. Let's go back to our page. And I don't want this. So to get rid of a block, you select it by clicking in it. You click on these three dots for more options and remove block. Don't forget you've got the undo button up here. So if you've accidentally removed something, you can press undo. But also be aware, great timing, it does an auto-save. So once it's auto-saved, sometimes the option to undo does disappear. So, right, let's put a heading in. So we want the heading below about me, but you can actually add a block below the title, like you can when you're adding a block below the main bulk of the text. Let me show you. So we've got our cursor in there. If I was to add a heading, it'll put it right at the bottom. So to get it above the top block, you just need to move it up. And you wouldn't have had so far to move it up if you'd have inserted the block while your paragraph cursor is in this block here. So we've got our heading. Let's write that. I'm going to put my name. And you can make it bold, it's already bold, or you can italicize it. You can make it a bit smaller by clicking on the different heading types. And over here, you can make it even bigger, and you can align it in the center or to the right. Let's put it in the center. And let's see how that looks now, because we've got rid of that funny red box. And we've replaced it with a heading. That looks a bit neater. You may have preferred the red box. But there we go. Now, a couple of things I want to show you on the image which are really important. So you've got your image here. And what I want you to do is always to edit the image by clicking on the pencil. And with the image selected in your media library, so you know it's selected because it's got the tick, I want you to always put a title in for an image and alternative text as well. So a little local search engine optimization, or SEO as it's called for short, is to put in your name, your business name, the word virtual assistant if it's not in your business name, and your town. And the reason for that is Google picks up information like this. It picks up the alt text, so it will start putting that information into its search engine, and when people search for a virtual assistant in your town, eventually your website will come up further and further on Google. Now, I know you're virtual and I know that you can work with anybody in the world, but there are benefits to being local, to being the one that people go to locally, especially as more and more people use virtual assistants. So do put that in there as often as you can. So once I've done that, I don't need to press save. There's no save button. I just press select. That's like save. It looks like it's made the image big again. That's good, because then we can show how to overcome that. We didn't want that big. So let's make it medium, and then it probably won't cut my head off. Brilliant. That's great. But as we've made some changes, let's just do save draft, because that was quite a bit of typing on the image. And then one last thing I want to show you for the image is, with it selected again, on the right hand side you've got link settings. Now what that means is you can link the image to a URL, to another web page. So let's do it as an example here. I'm going to link to a custom URL. So I want to link the image to my VA website. There we go. You always have to put in the HTTPS. And what I always do as well is have it open in a new tab, which means when somebody clicks on the link, a brand new tab opens and keeps the original tab open as well, so that the person clicking on it doesn't forget where they've come from. That's a little trick there. So what we've done is we've created a link behind the image. And we save that, and I'll show you exactly what that means, because that might be a bit confusing. I appreciate that. So we put that link in. Let's preview. Just generate that. Scroll down. No longer got my head missing. But also, when you're hovering over the image, you can see the hand appear. And if you click on that, it's opened my website, because we put that custom link in. Now I wouldn't need it in this instance, but examples of when you would want a link behind an image would be perhaps if you're creating a shop for a client. So you may have an image of a book, if they're selling a book, and then when they click on the image of the book, it opens a page to enable them to buy the book. So maybe it would open Amazon, or maybe it would open their own online shop, or anything, their Facebook page, to enable them to buy it from there. So there are many occasions where it would be useful to have an image linking to a URL. In this instance, no. So let's put none and preview again. And you can see the option to click on it has disappeared. I'm clicking and nothing happens. So it's just a static image there. Okay, so one thing you will always, I recommend you do for all pages and for all posts, which we're going to look at later, is to set a featured image. What that means is when you share your web page, an image pulls through. So you may have seen people sharing their URLs and different pages, and it's just got the link, there's no image, it's just something for them to click on. But when you set a featured image, that pulls through whenever you share your URL. So it makes things look a little bit more enticing, a bit more professional. So to set a featured image, it's very similar to adding an image to your page. Click on with your cursor in the title. You're then presented with set featured image. So if you click on that, and it comes up with your media library. And you can see images that have been previously uploaded. You can select one of those. Or you can go to Upload Files, select Files, and it opens your computer drive again. So I'm going to use this one. Click on Open. And then once again, don't forget to set your title. I've still got it in my copy. So you set your title and your alternative text to include virtual assistant, your business name, your name. You don't have to put your name if you don't want to. And also make sure it's in title and alternative text. Make sure the right image is selected, ready to go in, and click select. And then you can see your featured image is there. So that means whenever you share your web page, this image will pull through and just make it look so much more enticing and professional. One last thing I want to show you is the permalink. Now that is the URL. So I'm talking about you sharing your page. This is the URL here that you would copy and paste and share to enable you to share your page. So the URL is always the website address, and then it's always the page title. However, you can manipulate that. So the end of this URL, or permalink as it's also called, is about-me, because our page title is about me. Now, there will be times where your page title is completely different to your URL. I'll show you an example on my page. Here, I've got a page titled Praise, but the URL is testimonials, because that's what most people look for. They'll look for testimonials. They won't look for praise. I just wanted praise on there because I thought it was a bit of fun. So this is how I made that different to the page name. Here we go. So the title of the page we want as about me, but we want the permalink to just be about. All we do, highlight and delete, and that's now saved. So your permalink is just the website /about. Now there are sometimes, when you start a new website, the permalink sometimes has a date in it. Let me show you what I mean. If you go to, let's save first, so we save draft before we go away. So we made quite a few changes. And then we're going to go to settings and permalinks. Oh, here's an example here. So often the default for your permalink is to be your website name and then a date. So it's the day, month and year, and then the end bit. Again, it was about-me and the page we were just looking at, and we changed it to about. Personally, I don't like to see the date. I think it looks messy, and also if you're creating blog posts, you don't really want the date to be in the URL, because if you created a blog post 3 years ago and started sharing it, anybody that can see that date will think, oh, this is old, this is out of date. I just don't think it's necessary. I think it's nicer to be clean, because it's easier as well to share the URL verbally and also for people to remember it. So if it's not already, set your default URL to just post name so that it shows the website address and then the page title or whatever you manipulate it to. Once you've selected that, click on Save Changes and your permalinks will change to that. Be warned though, if you've created lots of pages previously or blog posts, they will now have the date removed. So any that you've shared previously, people won't be able to get to them because the link would have changed. Now let's go back to our page, our About page that we were creating. So we go to Pages, and you can see it here, and you can see that it's draft because we've not published it or made it live. So let's go back into the page. And what we're going to do now is we're going to publish it. So we could preview it if we wanted to have one last check to make sure it looks okay, and then click on Publish, which means exactly as it says, it's going to publish it and make it live. So if we click on Publish, and we can make it visible to everyone, we can either make it private so that it's only site admins and editors that can see it, or you can make a page password protected, which would be good if you've got a client or you've got a membership site and you want to make it password protected. So we're happy to publish it now and make it public, and we press Publish. And what's next? Page address. So you can copy that and start sharing your page here, there and everywhere. Even though you've published it, it's not yet in your menu. So if I go back to the main home page of the website, you can see we've got home and blog, which is, I've put that in the menu, you'll see later on in the course, but the about isn't on here. So people can't actually find your new page without you sharing the link with them. So later on in the course I will show you how to add it to the menu up there. So let's go back into dashboard. Our page is now published, and I'd like you to go and create your own.